So when I was in the car, I was just, crying out to God, like boo-hooing, crying, ugly crying, like, y'all, this was probably the ugliest I done ever cried in my life.
Queen, you are valued. You are loved. You are appreciated. You are needed. You feel me? You are joy. When you walk in the room, you demand that respect. Okay, you set the tone, queen. You are beautiful. You're freaking gorgeous, girl. What the hell? You see yourself, you know it. You feel me? You are you. You are that one.
What's up, you guys? My name is Janae Christina, and I'm back with another video. Today I'll be talking to you guys about my story, about how I found out that I was pregnant and how I told my parents that I was pregnant. I wanted to share my story for someone who could be in the same situation as me, someone who is curious about somebody who is in a situation. How do they tell their family? How did they cope with the idea of even having to be pregnant? Like, what did they do? I want people to be able to come to this video and be able to be like, oh, like, I can relate to her. This video is not intended for me to promote teen pregnancy. I'm not telling y'all to, go home, go with your boo, go have sex and get it popping and have your baby. No. This video is also for people who may think like, oh, that could never be me. I could never be that girl. Let me tell you, okay? I thought I would be the last person to be pregnant. I thought I could never be that girl. But look at your girl being that girl. Like, I'm pregnant, y'all, and it happened to me. If it happened to me, it can happen to you. I'm not telling you guys to plan an early pregnancy at an early age. I'm just here to say that if life happens and it hits you, it's okay at the end of the day. Don't be afraid to tell your parents. Don't be afraid to accept it. And just, just live your life. Like, this is your life. This is my life. This is my story. And I want to share it with y'all. I am sharing a big part of me. And I ask that everybody respect it. Respect me. Respect the struggle. Respect what I went through. And just enjoy what I have to say. So like I was saying, it was about, I want to say maybe September 1st or so. And, I was freaking out and panicking at this point. Every time I was up a symptom, it was like, I would try to figure out what is going on. Like, why am I feeling like this? And every single time I looked up a symptom, all I saw was pregnancy, 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 pregnancy. And I'm just like, like, I'm seeing more pregnancy than I'm seeing diabetes. Like, what's going on? Like, I just know I'm not pregnant, and I know I'm not diabetic. So I'm like, I'm just like, what is up? Like, Lord, what is this that's happening to my body? I started to talk to my friends again, and I was telling them, like, y'all, it's too many things happening for me to just be calm and for me to just say, like, oh, it's nothing. Like, no, I can't keep brushing off these feelings. The very last thing that was suggested to me was to wait until my period came. The only reason why I agreed to that was because that was a few days, not too far from the time that I was at. I took the advice and I just waited for my period to come. Day 1, no period. Day 2 came and still no period. Day 3 had came and, I was going throughout my day. And at this time, I was still having some discharge. It was still moist down there. For some reason, I was just so happy, like, I'm about to see if I started my period. It's the end of the day. I know my period started by now because I feel something that wasn't there. So I went in the bathroom. I handled my business, peed, whatever. And I look down and I see no blood at all. Like, I'm thinking I'm having all this discharge. I'm like, it gotta be the Red Sea. Like, what else could it be? Like, why else would I have so much moisture down there? Because at this point, it's ridiculous. But I look and I check, and I don't see my cycle starting at all. The first 3 days of my period, I missed every single one of them. So when my friends and my boyfriend checked on me, they started thinking of excuses to tell me, like, maybe you're just stressed out, maybe you are having a delayed cycle, maybe your cycle was irregular. But my cycle was, like, never irregular. I always had a normal cycle. I was always on time. I just moved to an apartment, so there was no way that I picked up on somebody else's cycle in my apartment with my roommates. I was like, no, something's going on. So then they suggested that I waited maybe a week or so to see if maybe I'm going to have an even later period. But y'all, I couldn't wait no more. I could not wait anymore. I was afraid that if I waited to go get a pregnancy test, or if I waited to see if my period would come like a week or two later than when it was supposed to come, I was thinking like, what if I was pregnant this whole time and I'm waiting on something that's never going to come? You know, like I'm having all these symptoms and you want me to wait another week for my period? Like, no, like I don't want to be, 10 weeks, 12 weeks pregnant and I'm not even aware of that. I was for certain that I want to take the abortion route. So I was thinking like, if I'm pregnant, I need to know now so I can go get my abortion, have the money together and move on with my life, because I didn't want to wait too long until I couldn't get an abortion. I decided that it was time for me to take a test. Now, me being a college student, my money wasn't all together, and I also had things that I had to pay for. So, like school just started, I have to pay for books and whatnot. I have to pay for groceries for my new home. I have plans for my money already, so I didn't want to go out my way and just buy a pregnancy test. With that being said, I had called my clinic, my school clinic, and I had asked them if they provided pregnancy tests, and they said yes, they provide pregnancy tests in the pharmacy, but no, they do not run tests for you, like together with you, none of that. You have a take-home kit that you can take home and take. So I did not want to buy my test, like I said. The test was like, I don't know, $12, $16, $20. Wasn't trying to pay for that. So I had no hope in my school clinic. I was also afraid of like the way my insurance would be used. I didn't want to use my insurance card at all so that it could show like, oh yeah, like I got tested for pregnancy tests at school or at another clinic. Like, I don't know how the insurance thing would work, whether it would show my history or show the medical history that I had gotten done or not. So I was like, yeah, bump that. So next I called Planned Parenthood. I believe they said they wouldn't give me a test, but they would give me an ultrasound if I already knew that I was pregnant. And you have to have evidence that you were pregnant to get the ultrasound. So once again, I found no hope. But Planned Parenthood did direct me to this place called Alternatives. And Alternatives is this clinic that is good for giving out pregnancy tests, where they sit down with you and they talk with you and they take the test with you, and they also do other things like do STD checks, STI checks, HIV checks, counseling, like all this really good, helpful stuff. And I'm going to leave their information down below. So when I talked to Alternatives, they told me that I could come in anytime during the week to get tested, and my next available day was the next day after I had called them, which was September 5th. So it was September 4th. I was telling my friends how I found this place called Alternatives, and I was telling them that I'm thinking about going tomorrow. So, my friends were involved in their own things. They had their own plans the very next day, and they couldn't make it that day. I had the option to wait for my friends to have them go with me, or I could go by myself and get this handled and see for myself, like, what the truth was. I decided that I could not wait for them. They had class, they had stuff to take care of, and at that point, so did I. Like, this was a top priority of mine, and it was going to eat me up if I kept on waiting to find out whether or not I was pregnant. I went by myself also because, like I said, my boyfriend at the time, he was 2 hours away, and I was not gonna wait for him to, drive. I don't think he had a way to drive out to me. So I was like, bump it, I'm gonna go by myself, and I'm gonna just get seen about. So I was talking to my friends, and I was telling them like, okay, you guys, so I'm gonna go get tested, I'm gonna go get seen about and see if I'm pregnant or not. And I just honestly thought, I thought it was going to be a piece of cake, because deep down inside, I knew what I wanted to do at the time. I knew, okay, if I'm pregnant, I'm going to just get an abortion. I'm going to act like it never happened. I'm going to go about my life. I'm going to go about my day. And it's just going to be, it's going to be what it is. So I remember my friends were asking me, Janae, you're not scared? What if you are pregnant? And I was like, if I'm pregnant, then I'm pregnant and there's nothing that I can do about it. I mean, there's something that I can do about it, which is get an abortion or keep it, but you know, I was not fit to be a parent. That's what I thought. I thought, like, I'm too young for this. I have things to do, dreams and goals to meet. So I was just like, girl, it's life. Like, you know, like, why would I be afraid? What is there to be afraid of? If I'm pregnant, then I'm gonna just get an abortion. So September 5th was the day that I decided to go to the clinic, which was the next day over. When I got there, they didn't need anything from me except for my driver's license. They didn't need my insurance card, which is what I wanted. It was free, which was very convenient, and basically, you know, everything worked out as far as that. When I got there, they brought me into the back, and I met with this older woman into this room. It was like a clinic or a office sort of, and it was just 2 chairs there for me and for her. So when I first sat down, she gave me a little cup to pee in, but before she had me go pee in the cup and leave a sample, she had asked me a couple questions. You know, she had asked me like, what brings you in today? How are you feeling? What are your symptoms? How old are you? Small talk in a way, but yet still, like I said, getting to know me and who I am, and what brought me in to get a pregnancy test. After she gave me my cup and she got done asking me my first set of questions, I went to the bathroom and I peed in the cup and I left the sample in the cup. So I went back to the room to sit down with her and I set the cup on the table that was like in between us in a way. And then on the table was a syringe and the actual pregnancy test. She had me get the syringe and take out, you know, absorb some pee from it. And the stick was just there. So she told me to just drop like 2 or 3 drops onto the actual test. And then she's gonna set her timer for 6 minutes. So after I dropped some pee, I don't know why I feel weird saying that, but after I had put the droplets onto the test, she started asking me more questions. She started asking me more personal questions about my relationship with my ex, asking like, is he supportive? Is he going to be there for you? She asked me if I had any support from family, but most of all, she asked me what route would I take if I was to end up being pregnant. I did not sugarcoat it at all. I told her if the pregnancy test ends up being positive and not negative, then I decided that I would get an abortion. The timer eventually went off. She had told me to tell her like when was my last period that I had before I missed my period and everything. And that's how I know the conception date, because it makes sense and I remember the specific day of when I conceived the baby. And so she told me that I was 4 weeks pregnant and that it was a positive pregnancy test.
Sierra's pregnant.
No, I'm not.
Baby shower together.
What the f***? Don't cry, don't That's not mine.
Yes, it is.
My pregnancy test came back positive. I didn't take a picture of it because I thought like, well, first of all, I just wasn't thinking like I should just keep this pregnancy test. You know, I was thinking like, all right, well, I'm gonna get an abortion anyway, so bump the pregnancy test. A part of me wanted to ask for it, but after I done told the woman that I was going to get an abortion, I didn't really see a reason for me to say, hey, can I keep the pregnancy test? Like, you know, I didn't want to give that woman false hope. I don't know. I just didn't ask to keep my pregnancy test. But this is the pregnancy test. I should put it somewhere right here. That was the picture that I took and I kept, and I will keep it until the end of time. Now we can get into how I felt when I found out that I was pregnant. So when she told me that I was pregnant, it was like my world just stopped. You know, like everything was spinning around. I was like thinking the whole time that we were talking before the timer ended, I was thinking like, yeah, like I got this in the bag. I'm not pregnant. I'm just handling my business, making sure everything is good. There's nothing to worry about. I'm not pregnant. It could not happen to me. Once again, y'all, it can happen to you. So I was just thinking like, okay, this is real, but this isn't happening to me. I'm not gonna be pregnant. But when she said I was pregnant, I tried not to make any expression on my face. I tried to just, you know, have not a straight face, but a normal face, if that makes sense. I probably did have a straight face. I don't know what kind of face I was making. I was probably pissed. I don't know. But I just, you know, I was really taken aback. I was at a loss for words, and I just wanted to cry. I was trying to hold back all of my emotions, and I had the heaviest lump in my throat of just sadness, fear. You know, I was terrified. I was scared, and I didn't know what to do. The biggest question in my mind was, how would I even tell my parents this? How would I tell them that I just got to college, school is starting, you know, but the biggest thing that has happened so far is that I'm pregnant. You know, like, how did I just get to college and I'm pregnant? You know, it happened before I got there, but still, like, I'm supposed to be handling my business, taking care of stuff, getting my education, and instead of telling them something to be proud of, I'm telling them something that I'm disappointed in myself to even share with them. You know, it was just nerve-wracking and heartbreaking even to myself. So I knew I was going to break their heart. After getting my results, she asked me if she could give me this folder that had a lot of information on it, a lot of talk about like how to go about pregnancy. My first option was abortion. Next option was to keep my child. And my last option was to put my baby up for adoption, which was not gonna happen. So along with the folder that they had given me, they had also given me a piece of paper that had stated like the date that I had came in to be pregnancy tested, whether I tested positive or negative, the day that I conceived and how many weeks I was, and also of course like the information of where the building was that I had went to. The very next thing that had happened after she gave me all the things that she had given me, she asked if she could pray for me. And you know, me being Christian, me coming from a very religious background, I wasn't going to just deny her prayer. Like, I feel like if I deny someone's prayer, I'm denying God, you know? So if they are willing to speak positivity over my life, speak life into my life, you know, then why not let them? So I let the lady pray for me. She prayed for my well-being. She prayed for my decision-making to be sincere, for me to have a strong head on my shoulders, and for God to just be with me and everything. And everything that she was saying was just kind of like, it was a tearjerker for me. I already wanted to cry, but I just felt more sadness and more guilt deep in my soul, you know, because like I was telling this woman that, you know, I'm getting an abortion, I don't have any other plans, this is my route, and this is the route that I'm going to take. And to have somebody to just pray over my life like that really amazed me, because this woman did not know who I was, but she wanted to connect with me and pray over me and my unborn child that she didn't even know. You know, like, she doesn't know my child. She doesn't know if I'm going to keep my child, but yet she prayed for my child, you know. If I could tell her right now, I would tell her that that prayer went a long way, because obviously I went the opposite route that I thought I would go, but I really appreciate her taking the time to just connect with me. And I don't know if that's something that the clinic does. Like, I don't know if they are even allowed to do that, like bring God into the situation like that. Whatever the case may be, I'm glad that she did it, because I greatly appreciate it. So after I had left the clinic, I went straight to my car. My car was parked outside of the clinic, and you know, I just made a straight dash to my car. Like, I didn't want to look at anybody in the lobby, in the waiting room, anybody at the desk. I just didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want to smile at anybody. I just got told that I was pregnant. So I was just feeling overwhelmed and feeling like, you know, a weight on my shoulders that just got dropped. Like, it just felt like so much pressure was on me. So when I got to my car, and when it was just me in that car and it was nobody else, I just started breaking down in tears. And you know, I was very emotional. I was very disappointed in myself. I was just at a very dark place at that moment, and the worst part about it was probably me being alone. I feel like a lot of the times when people find out that they're pregnant, they find out with at least somebody next to them, you know, like whether it's their mother, their father, their significant other, their friend, their brother, their sister, their dog. Who knows who's with them? Usually somebody has somebody with them. But me, you know, I went in there, found out I was pregnant, and I was just lonely. It was the worst feeling. I'm glad that I went to the clinic, but it was a very emotional time for me. So yeah, and I wouldn't wish that feeling, that loneliness, that heartbreak, you know, on anybody.